Good morning, a very warm welcome. Today, I'd like to take a look at one very important project management statement. This is not within the scope of the project, meaning when a product owner comes to a project manager wanting changes to an ongoing project that has a defined scope, timeline, and budget, what should be done about it? How can we use this? How can we maximize the chances of achieving success in the project? We'll cover all of that today, so please join me. Let's start with where this difference in perspective comes from, where the project manager is the guardian of the iron triangle, meaning they're responsible for project quality, time, and budget, while on the other hand, the product owner is responsible for the business value of the project's deliverables. And now, in order to manage a project well as a project manager, it's worth understanding these two approaches, these differences, and where they originate. And that, in reality, this is the driving force behind every project. Some might think this is a certain flaw in project management or a project problem, but it's actually a feature of project management. And let's see what would happen if one of these roles had a dominant position in the project. So, for example, if the project manager had the dominant role, then the product they delivered would be what the project provided. In the IT world, it would likely be worthless by the end of the project. This is one reason why the IT world moved away from projects managed with the waterfall system in favor of agile, which is more flexible. Precisely because the dynamics of the IT market are so high, the volatility is very significant. Customer requirements, capabilities, and technologies are constantly changing. So, managing these projects in such a rigid way with a project designed once at the start and followed event by event, well, it just doesn't work. But what would happen in the second case where the product owner gets that dominant role? Well, in that case as well, the chance of the project being successfully completed is small because in trying to keep up with those changing market values, what's happening, customer needs, and technologies, that product owner could constantly change those requirements. And because of that, the project team wouldn't be able to deliver any solution to the market as new changes would keep emerging. The project manager's goal here is to maintain that tension, that balance between the product owner, meaning those business needs, and the project manager, meaning the project needs predictability and manageability at as stable a level as possible so that the project is carried out in a predictable manner while also delivering valuable business products. How to approach this? We can start with empathy instead of confrontation. So as a project manager, start by listening to the product owner's needs, telling them you understand instead of saying, no, this wasn't in the scope and we won't do anything about it. So understand, learn, and consider together with the product owner what you can do about it. If the product owner comes to you with solid, well supported data, meaning they have research results, survey results, they see what the competition is doing and where the needs and opportunities are. If they come with hard data, then you should respond along with the project team in a way that says, okay, we can certainly do it, but it will require this much time, resources, technology, licenses, or whatever else is needed. So let's talk about the data here. It's much easier to detach the emotions that often come with changes and instead focus on the overall value and predictability of the project process. Find that common goal because you're actually working in one team and you want, and both of you should want, this project to deliver solutions in a highly predictable, well managed, and organized way, providing value to the business and ultimately increasing the project's chance of success. Success, and return on investment. However, to avoid blind optimism when reporting changes, it is beneficial to introduce a formalized change request process. This process is not simply more bureaucracy, as it might seem at first glance, but rather a responsible and important element of project management. As a project manager, you should know what's happening in the project, why it's happening, and have documentation for it. And such a formalized change request is exactly the tool that will help you later reconstruct what happened and how it happened and manage those changes. Because imagine it's not just one project change, but a dozen of them. And then what? Well, you have to manage those changes. We do this change, not that one. We do this one first, that one later. So normal project work. It's worth it for such a change request to have the business justification, why we're doing it, what we're doing, meaning these changes described and what impact it will have on the project. Then we are able to make a decision in a conscious way instead of telling the project owner that no, we will not be doing something. Let's show them what changes it might have and what impact the changes they are introducing could have on the project. So we can do this new functionality X, but in exchange for what exactly? We have a project backlog. We have a list of things to do prepared. So dear product owner, okay, decide what should be first, or instead of what this change should be introduced. Maybe we don't need this system element, maybe that one. It's important to show that these changes aren't cost free. And speaking of costs, if we're at the very beginning of the project, it's worth thinking about an innovation budget. If we know we're developing a product or will be, or if we're working in such a dynamic environment, it's worth having such a budget planned so we don't have to choose what to do instead of what in the project, but so that we can do something extra. And then if it turns out during the project that there's a feature we didn't think of at the start and customers say they want it, we can deliver that feature to them. Let's look at an example like the FinApp application where here our competition, like we're implementing a new financial app, we're working on it, we have a defined scope, we have planned sprints. And during this project, the product owner comes in and says, our competition is introducing BLK payments, we should do something about it. And they say that additionally, they present data and tell us that 25% of payments are canceled precisely because at the last step in the cart, there's no option to pay with BLIK. So they bring concrete data. On the other hand, the project manager also presents concrete data that implementing this BLI key payment will take 100 hours and it will cost us a 2-week delay. And now, if we have an innovation budget, we can use such an innovation budget. If we don't have such a budget, then we can apply a scope swap and then propose that, okay, we can implement this payment now with BLIK, but it will be at the cost of a new PDF report. If that's okay for the stakeholders, for the product owner, then we implement it, we work on this BLIK payment feature, and we do the PDF report implementation some other time at a later date. In summary, the most important thing to keep in mind is not to wage war or enter into any kind of conflict with the product owner, but instead to build a genuine partnership. We do not want to win any wars here. We do not want to spoil the positive project atmosphere. And we certainly do not want to waste valuable time proving things to each other. Who's right? We want to build a partnership. We want the project manager to be able to lead the project in a predictable way, while on the other hand, the product owner is sure that the project products will be valuable for the business. This increases our chances of success. Let's add empathy to that. Let's add data so that we work on data that tells us something and not just on what we think. Let's add a common goal, a tool, and together, let's increase the chances of delivering valuable products from the project. Your next battle doesn't have to be like that at all. If you want to change something, if you want a different relationship with the product owner, try starting with the fact that you understand his needs. To understand his needs, try instead of saying no to him, say, okay, let's change this element, let's build this new functionality at the expense of another functionality, or let's use the budget for information. I wish you all the best, good luck, and I'll keep my fingers crossed for success in the projects you lead. Bye.